Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Welcome back, everyone. Time again for another Trek Watch. Huntress here, Franco here, Mitch here, Wayne here, and man, I feel bad because again, I don't think there's going to be much conflict this week. I've enjoyed everything that I intend to talk about tonight.
That's where you're wrong. I hated everything.
Right. Andor, Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, a couple other things that maybe individuals may want to talk about as well. But let's start with Prodigy. I thought it was another great episode. I love the direction it's going in. I thought the actual story itself was fine, but God, great to see Admiral Jellicoe show up.
Yep, Ronnie Cox.
Yeah, I thought that was him.
Yeah, that was him. That was his voice.
Yeah,
and character.
Yeah.
How did we feel about Billy Campbell? I missed that episode.
O'Connor being a jerk.
Yeah. No, both episodes. Yeah, well, that's true as far as the most recent one. But yeah, Franco didn't have a chance to talk about 2 weeks ago as well when we saw O'Connor for the first time. I think all they did was make it a better character because, I mean, what I said was that second season episode, it sounded good on paper, but the outrageous O'Connor, and it's like, yeah, not so much. Kind of annoying. Kind of more goofy than outrageously flamboyant. But that's
I always thought he was like a Cyrano Jones or Mud. He was like one of those guys, big bragger.
But you're right, man, and that is a more apt linear comparison. I kind of felt it was, again, kind of they were trying for Han Solo-y. But now that you say that, I think you're right. It is more.
Yeah, it's more Mud and Cyrano Jones.
Yep. Friend Kirk. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's not a Han Solo. No.
Well, I think he was in terms of being an adventurer that is doing his own thing. But I can appreciate the Cyrano Jones goofiness. But again, I thought, especially in the first episode, it legitimized him even more. And then I liked the way that he weaseled out too.
Well, do you think he really did? Because I was thinking about that. I go, these shows, they do that like with the archaeologists in Upper Deck.
Yeah.
It was so obvious. Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm going to get out of here now. And I'm like, really? You brought this guy back just to walk away? He'll pop up at the last second when that bomb is about to blow up on the ship. And then, O'Connor sold it for dilithium crystals, or I had a deal, one of those deals.
I could almost see him instead. Janeway and her ship encountering him, and you want to find him? That's great. Guess what? I left a tracker on this ship.
Yeah.
Directly to him.
It seems too big a character just to like walk away like that.
Yeah, after only 2 episodes, I agree.
Yeah.
No, I hope so. I hope we get more Billy Kendall. I thought he was great. I hope we get more Jellicoe, frankly. No.
I thought what they did with the kid was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of him not being anything.
Well, that's
everything.
Yeah, Langley makes that point as well. It says basically it's the entire genetic makeup of the Federation rolled into one being. Absolutely.
And it was sort of foreshadowed when he was on the starbase and all the bells and whistles went off right off the bat. Augmentation.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's clearly, it's almost what we wanted to happen with Rutherford in Lower Decks might be happening with Dal, that maybe there's a whole conspiracy of, genetically engineering him and everything. But I even, as silly and goofy, and again, it's a Y7 show, but I loved his puberty, the fangs and the
hair.
Yeah. Hey, Mom, there's hair growing on my palm. Of course there is. Get out of the bathroom. Someone needed to say that. Stop combing your hair in the bathroom, Dal.
Stop looking at those Orion slave girls so much.
Yep. But, I wonder if the Protostar has a holodeck.
I think it does. Didn't they already show? Oh no, maybe I'm thinking Lower Decks. Yeah.
They had the and it wasn't a holodeck. They have the 3D printer that can custom make you a shuttle, which is cute, but also like very, very unlikely and practical.
Yeah,
but it's a big 3D printer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who's to say? Maybe not.
3D print you some fucking lungs, buddy.
Ooh, jeez.
Oh,
wow.
Well, we went there already.
So, did you see the turn at the end?
I'm trying to remember it. I'm sure.
That left turn with the trail.
Oh, of course. Yes. And feel free. We can spoil and everything. I mean, we know we're spoiling. Yeah, the one of Janeway's crew members, it turns out, is also evil in disguise. Robot in disguise. Did you see? Was it Rick and Morty? Was it Rick and Morty?
Yes.
No. It was the Guardians. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say,
Morty had the different storytelling techniques.
Yes.
Yes.
But anyway, no, let's stick with
Prodigy. Do you think it's kind of like, dial H for hero type of thing? He's got this little disc on the back of his neck. It's like, give me the wisdom of a Vulcan. Bink. Give me the Klingon aggressiveness. Bink. So he's just like, I don't know, whatever he wants.
Well, didn't they take it off? Did they remove it at the end?
Yeah, they did. But I'm like, why?
Well, I think what happened was, he juiced it all. He juiced it all at one time.
At one time, I was gonna say that would be a cool thing to have for a character. Like, in a moment's notice, they need like a good warrior, so he hits the thing.
He vaped it all in one inhale.
Yeah.
Here, Langley has some good observations. Well, that we did. 1 second. He loves how Prodigy mixes and matches all kind of Trek characters and stories from the past. I agree. You can tell that the Prodigy showrunners actually know their Trek and know how to use continuity well to enhance the show. Agree once again. Yep. And I should mention as well that Julie and Shauna Benson are going to come on Word Balloon in just 2 weeks from Friday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Their Prodigy episode is going to run on that Thursday on the 14th, and then we'll talk on the 15th, right?
It's funny he says that the Prodigy writers know Star Trek, like know it, not just like they watched one sitting and then they like the Star Trek the movie people, which I always thought that's what J.J. Abrams did. It's like, oh yeah, I know Star Trek. It's the guy with the doctor. Yeah, surface, like very superficial.
Yeah.
And they went out and they made a movie, and you're like, well, this is kind of right, but it's not the real thing. And I was going to say Prodigy is the real deal because they have the characters and they know the story and they know what they should do, as opposed to we've went through it before. Lower Decks is finally getting it, and Discovery's on its own. They don't even try.
I read something this week about Kevin Feige and talking about the Marvel universe and how there was, and I can't remember where I read it, so apologies, but he said something, or someone said something about finding writers that are not versed in comics to bring these stories to life. But my feeling is, yeah, maybe he's doing that, but someone, maybe him, knows about the Marvel Universe.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, you can bring these guys in, or these writers, girls, guys, by guys, I just mean everybody.
Right.
Bring these people in and have them write. But there's somebody who is like, well, no, this has to be this, or this is what he can do, or whatever. Yeah. You know, just like, you know, I don't know how many of you guys have seen Black Panther, but what they did with Namor, I thought was really, really cool, because his essence of character was there, but his whole backstory is totally different than comics.
Correct.
Which worked for me. I mean, but that's okay. If you're bringing in people from outside to bring in those fresh ideas, at least you need to know what's happening in that universe. Same thing with Star Trek. You have these guys on lower decks that are finally starting to get it, but in the first couple of seasons, I wasn't even sure that they were watching Star Trek.
I hear you. No, and I agree. And I mean, obviously McMahon, we know, does know his Star Trek. Again, I don't know how much of his first 2 seasons were committed, you know, some of the ideas, or what. God only knows. I agree. I think Prodigy is very Star Trek. That's why I'm looking forward to talking to Julie and Shauna about the showrunners. Yeah. But also regarding Marvel, I hear what you're saying, man, and I agree. I know for a fact that the She-Hulk showrunner, one of her first jobs was at a comic store. So she is a real, and had been trying, like, she's a real comic fan and had been pitching Marvel for movies and Marvel TV for years before she got She-Hulk. So that's cool and good to know. And yeah, man, I mean, here, Langley says, Feige's MCU and Gilroy on Andor, great examples, knowing how to tell good stories first and then sprinkling in fan service when needed. Yeah, we'll get to Andor. I agree.
Yeah.
But also, Mitch, I wanted to comment because I agree with you in general. But, you know, JJ, for the Bad Robot, the Kelvin Universe Star Trek movies, originally it was a 3-headed monster. And really, more of it was delegated, not from JJ, but to his lieutenants, who were Kurtzman, but also this guy, Robert Orci.
Yeah, I've heard that name.
Orci was the really big Trek fan. And it's interesting because I believe, and folks correct me if I'm wrong, his original Star Trek Into Darkness, the second movie, was rejected and he was let go, or because it was a bit of a failure compared to the first movie, that's why he was let go.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, because
Kurtzman's the man left standing. So.
No, because Star Trek Beyond, was it the third one that was on in the last couple of days? I was clicking channels and I saw it and I started to watch it, and that's where Kirk's on the motorcycle and they're playing.
He's a badass in that one.
The Beastie Boys and all that.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And they're flying through that star base, and it's just so out of control. And I'm like, it's really like Star Trek on, I don't know what, steroids. It's this is Star Trek, man. It's like,
remember the director of that was a director like Fast and the Furious, so he knows how to use motorcycles. And
yeah.
Well, but go ahead.
Oh, that's why it was paced that way. Like it was paced like a Fast and Furious movie.
To me, the flaws of Beyond were, well, first of all, the good thing, that space station was amazing looking.
Yeah, it was.
It felt like one of those 70s paperback covers come to life. But it really doesn't make sense to have somebody as big and important as Idris Elba and cover him in the alien makeup until the very end of the movie.
Correct. Yeah, he's hot. You don't want to do that to his face.
No.
I would have rather he be, as he was eventually revealed to be, a former Mako from Starfleet during the war years, and just, you know, kind of like in Die Hard 2, William Sadler's character that is from, you know, military intelligence and is just a rogue military intelligence person. And I think that would have been a lot more interesting than the stupid goopy aliens. And, you know, but again, there are elements of Beyond I like, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's another unsatisfying movie.
No. And then I was even thinking of Peter Weller in the second one when he was with Section 31 and they were secretly building a ship outside of Saturn or Titan.
Jupiter or whatever.
Jupiter, and Scotty found it. Yeah. And I was like, again, it's like they just threw a bunch of shit in a bowl. It's like, oh, Section 31, that's like the KGB of Starfleet. And they just started randomly putting stuff together and it made like a mess, really. But these shows here, you said that, they're more Star Trek-y, but remember Next Generation when it first started, wasn't the decree from up above not to make it like the original Star Trek? Yes. So that's why the first 2 seasons are so fucked up, because
they didn't want to refer. They wanted to refer to the original series at the most bare minimums.
Yeah, but even the stories were out of whack a little bit. They tried to do.
That's ironic because technically Roddenberry was running things, and it was Gene's rules. And in fact, I think unfortunately in that first season, there are a few misogynistic and really blatantly racist episodes. That Code of Honor, where Tasha Yar has to fight the black women, and the black guy wants to all of a sudden I'm Archie Bunker. The black guy wanted to bother Tasha over there. Langley says he prefers Beyond Into Darkness. I agree. It felt like a giant budget TOS episode. In total, they spent too much money on the films, making it difficult to make money. Yeah, man, that was Harv Bennett's thing when he came in on Wrath of Khan till Star Trek 6 was like, I know how to make these things cheaper and we'll make you money. And he did. And I mean, Star Trek is a thinking man's sci-fi. Thank God for The Expanse, because there are very, and I hope there are more in the pipeline in terms of more thinking man's sci-fi. Again, the problem I think with JJ and Kurtzman and these other guys, they want to make it all action.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but you still need the smarts. And you're wasting your money on the action. God, I've been rewatching on HBO Max, because that's where they are, all the first 10 Star Trek movies. And you watch Star Trek 6, and there's this much action. Praxis explodes. Mm-hmm. You got all that shit. And then finally, when the bird of prey that's cloaked is firing at Kirk and firing at Sulu, that's the action. Otherwise, it's all talking. It's a lot. And then, of course, when they go to Aurora Pente, and a lot of snow, but otherwise,
let's slip the dogs of war.
Yeah, but that's what all the Star Trek that you could, other than the Borg episodes, when I think it's Next Generation, it's always these huge monologues with Picard talking about, what it means to be human, what it means to be this. And that's all the good Trek is all about stories and philosophies and this and that. Right. Because they didn't have money for action on that show. That's why it's like the Borg blowing up everything. They spent all their money on that Wolf 359, and that was it. We're like, we got no money.
And then they would have like 5 episodes that were bottle shows.
Oh, yeah.
Just taking place on the ship.
I found out that they actually bought the Hallmark Bird of Prey Klingon ornaments this week. I was watching one of those YouTube shows that they didn't have enough money, so they went to the stores and bought 30 of them. And when you see the big attack, I think it was Deep Space Nine, where they had the Klingon Armada show up. I can't remember which one. And there was they were literally fucking ornaments before CGI, just like on wires in the background to make it look like there was a lot of ships there,
Hey man, like literally Berman Star Trek was like the last great use. Well, that's not true. A little hyperbole, you'll forgive me.
Well,
maybe not the last, but great use of models.
Yeah. But like you said, they have to do more with less. They don't have the money to do Star Wars every week, so it's like, let's just talk about some thinking stuff.
Right, but that's good.
But Prodigy is unlimited because it's animated. You could do insane stuff, but they seem to be working well by just focusing on their 5 or 6 characters there and just like, don't get crazy. Don't go where Discovery does go nuts. Discovery spends money like they're drunken sailors on leave, man.
Yeah, on everything but story and character.
Yeah. It's like, holy shit, look at all these effects.
The first season, there's like gold braiding on the original blue Discovery uniforms.
Yeah.
And the Klingon in disguise.
Yeah.
You are. I forget his name. We gotta record that. Anyway,
no, but even the sets. Remember?
Let me finish my thought. So the gold braiding and stuff was on the uniforms. He puts his feet up in the cafeteria, and there's gold trim on the shoes, and you never see the goddamn shoes. It's like, save some fucking money, you idiots.
They spent a couple of million on those costumes.
No, I know. I was thinking of the sets in the Klingon. Whatever ship that was, remember, it was like multi-level and they're all talking.
Yeah, the funeral ship.
Yeah. And the thing that worse, they had like 6 nostrils, which threw me right out of the show. I was like, what the fuck? What's up with the Klingons? Why did you have to go that extreme? I hated that makeup effect.
Yeah.
Did we ever explain why the Klingons were different in the past again?
You know that theory, that 25% different theory. Supposedly, JJ, to get the licensing for all the hopefully ancillary toys and merch and everything, that there was an insider from Star Trek that said everything has to be 25% different from the original designs.
Really?
That's the rumor. And some people have said that's not true.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, and also it's so interesting. I just read an article that Terry Metalis did at the Den of Geek website. And my buddy John Price pointed it out because Metalis, and it was one line, but regarding Star Trek Picard, he's like, hey, there's obviously elements of Voyager in there, with 7 being part of the story. And he just said there's elements of Deep Space Nine. And he's like, I really think it's necessary for the DS9 and Voyager fans to be seen. And it's like, hey, just make good Star Trek, okay? Calm the fuck down. There's no problem. And if there is, that is so idiosyncratic, it's like, why is your mind even going there? But that said, back to music, I wanted to point out, and just what they spend money on, it was very interesting. The Star Trek Picard guy who did the music scores, very electronic, kind of not that great, whatever. I like the main theme for Picard. That said, though, he's got a totally new guy, and we're going back to like real orchestration again. And it's like, yeah, because that's fucking Star Trek. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember the first 2 seasons of TNG, you listen to it, and it is bad synth. It's like bad Doctor Who synth from the 70s and 80s and stuff. And finally, in the 3rd season, it's like, no, we really need a music score for every episode. We really need real music. And every subsequent Berman Trek show had real orchestration. And it's like, that's the kind of detail you pay attention to. And also, Metalis said, and I like this, he missed the next gen font, and it's going to be on there for season 3. And we're going to see the titles of each episode while the show is beginning. I mean, it's like, okay, that's good. Because again, my buddy Scott Larson, really great Chicago comic creator, we were talking, and he said he doesn't even consider Discovery a Star Trek show because it's so experimental, and he likes that. He appreciates the differences. I think they tried so hard to be different, they lost the Star Trek somewhere in the mix. All right,
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I agree with you because I don't know how it is a Star Trek show, because it's just so out of the line of what everything else Star Trek is.
Well, and as Mitch said, what did you say earlier, Mitch, that tied into that? And I'm sorry, my brain just farted.
About Discovery being overspent on the other production.
No. Way back when you made the point about repeat your.
I said about how the old Star Trek Next Generation was good because it was just talk because they didn't have the money.
No, even further back than that. What did you say, Franco?
And so we should just rewind the episode. We can find out.
I don't want to do that.
No,
but I'm sorry, guys. My brain just totally.
Whatever. I'm sure it was something very.
It was very good. It was very profound, Mitch. Honestly, no, I was very impressed.
I don't believe it.
Even a blind squirrel finds the occasional nut
in my pants. Absolutely true.
Oh,
hey now,
we went there.
Uniball, right up there, right there.
Was it about storylines, that there was more story?
Nah, that wasn't it. I think I was talking about how it was in the beginning. I talked about how Worf's scrotum was big and it had horns on the outside of it.
His scrotum had 9 nostrils.
He would shred it.
It's like a cat. They have like
he would shred Earth underwear all the time because of
like spikes on their penis. So when they get in there, they lock in.
The Russian mom, Worf, I had to buy you 3 Fruit of the Looms this week. You keep shredding. I'm sorry, mother.
Victor.
Whoa,
I was talking about O'Connor. They wouldn't have brought the character in just to throw away like that. So
no, it wasn't that. It was something in general about the right. I'm so sorry, guys. And seriously, it was good. And whatever Franco just said, I'm like, oh yeah, that reminds me of what you said earlier, Mitch.
Did you know
my brain sprained?
There was a drop of a not Noonien Sung, but another Sung, Bob Sung.
Eric.
Eric. I was like, no, Eric. But is that the son that we saw in Picard? Was that
Aaron Soon was Picard season 2?
Yeah, but is that the one they mentioned in Prodigy?
I think it was. Yes, they did. You're right in terms of the establishment.
Yeah, but I'm like, which one is that now? Because it's like
a new one. I think it's a new soon.
It's a new soon.
Too soon.
Too soon for
a new soon.
All right, let's get this straight.
I like that. That's very good.
Noonien Sung made Data.
Hey, he made a lot of people.
I made a lot of people.
Laura.
Laura.
Yeah.
Who's the one that made it on Enterprise that did the Klingon stuff when John Schuck was on it? There was
with the augments. Yeah.
Augments, that's one. And then you got
that was the Soon. Yeah, I don't remember what his first name was.
That's not Noonien Sung. That was his father. And then you got the one
like even earlier than his father. It's like maybe his grandfather or even.
Well, then who's the one that was on Picard that started the eugenics stuff?
But that was early. Okay, here.
So it's getting too much now.
Well, my question is.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. I was going to say real fast. Let me do the top line. So you got because again it was time travel. So you had Picard in the 21st century Soon, who was Aaron Soon. Then you had the Enterprise with the augments Soon.
Yeah.
Then you had Noonien Soon. Is there anybody in between? No.
Wait.
That's it.
No, there's a new Soon.
Okay, wait. No, we got according to the Soon family genealogy list.
Do it.
There's
Adam
a Soon family genealogy list.
Of course. Oh my God.
Okay. All right.
Do it.
All right. Sure. All right. So, in the 21st century, we had Adam Soon,
right,
who had several. Clones.
Oh, that's right. Langley's right. Go ahead.
Wait. What?
You keep going.
Yeah. Okay, and then in the 22nd century, we had Eric Soon.
Well, that's the augment. That's the augment one.
Yeah, and then Noonien Soon is in the 24th century.
Right.
Juliana Tainer is Noonien's wife, and
right.
And later human-like android built by Soon.
Yeah.
Correct.
Then there's Alton. There's a
Alton.
P4 lore Data.
Alton was the one from Picard season 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
About him.
So my question is this:
that is Data's brother. That's Data's human brother, who
Yeah.
descended from Noonien Soon.
And they're all played by.
By the way, we keep saying Noonien Soon, and that's Khan.
Yeah.
So Doctor.
No,
but listen, my question is this: with all this family lineage that Wayne is showing right now, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That means how did he have time to create all these things when he's having sex and procreating his entire family through the generations? How does he have time to create all these things?
Well, because again, all of his prodigy. And by the way, we forgot Issa Baronis's character from season 2 that technically was also a Soon.
Oh yeah, she's
in the group. Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, he was cloning, so I don't think he was getting down. I think he was taking his spermatozoid,
and that goes back to the Picard where they had the folder with eugenics, the folder for the Khan project.
Yeah,
Oh,
it all dealt with eugenics and cloning.
Right.
Isn't that stuff that Frank Thomas sells on TV?
Yes.
She'll like it too.
Yep.
You know?
And Doug Flutie.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask Frank a question? Weren't you called the big unit? No, that was Randy Johnson. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was the big hurt.
Yeah, I was the big hurt. So get ready to get an ice pack because you might be a little sore down there. Hey now. I love it. I love when this happens. Anyway, I love when Frank Thomas was on Star Trek playing the big hurt. We have to get rid of the big hurt.
What show is this now?
Those are commercials for male enhancement products.
Oh, I don't get
Star
to watch
Trek
that
After
stuff.
Dark.
Oh. Exactly. Literally. Well,
I have stumbled across vibrator commercials in like 2 a.m. I'm like, is this on regular TV? What happened? What happened?
What are you watching?
The Adam and Eve catalog.
Literally, seriously.
There was an infomercial. There was an infomercial for the Adam and Eve catalog for a while.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, is the world just ripped free of its orbit, headed into the sun? Because there's no decency left on TV. Now I sound like Shatner.
Exactly.
What happened?
You got to watch those Frank Thomas commercials because it's evolved from him working out in a locker room to him now having his own town where all these people are.
I've seen the press conference once, and all the women are asking questions,
like the Stepford wife.
He's got his own town, and everybody's hooked on this drug now. So it's awesome.
This is like a reality show.
And she'll like it too. That's what he said. That's the tagline.
I want to watch that show. Why am I watching Prodigy?
It wasn't Cialis. What was the one that used to have the whistling commercials for like Viagra like products?
Well, there's one with an old guy and he's got this really pretty wife, and then all of a sudden it's like they look at each other. They're down by the beach and they kind of wink wink. Next thing you know, they're getting it on. I'm like, wait, what did he put in her drink? Can I get a 6-pack of that?
Yeah, he's got that Frank Thomas stuff in there. That's what's happening.
Is it Cialis?
Was it Cialis back in the day?
It's
maybe not. That's probably the new one.
No, that's the newer one. Yeah. I think Wayne is answering me. Or maybe not.
It's for ED.
Yeah,
I don't know who that is.
No, I know
Isn't that like the phys ed thing?
No, that was the president's physical fitness test.
Please help me. Hell, I remember when Lyle Wagner had the pump for down there.
What? No, he did not.
Early infomercial. Totally true.
Oh my God.
Wonder Woman.
I'm so glad that Robert Urich is dead now, because if he was alive, I could see Spencer for Hire at 2 a.m.
Oh, I'm sure he would have done those. I'm sure Robert Conrad would have done those if he wasn't dead.
Put that battery. Put that on his penis. He puts the battery on his penis and goes, "Go ahead, knock it off."
A little less longer when you do it that way. All right.
What are we even talking about now?
Back to
what happened?
All right. Should we pivot to either Guardians or Andor?
Pivot.
Let's do Guardians now because
all right, here.
What a delight.
I'll put on my wig for Guardians.
There you go.
Now we know we're talking about Guardians now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That honestly, I'm sure I've told you guys this before. I worked in radio for 30 years and had to be at radio stations playing Christmas music so much that I've really grown. The only thing that I don't mind for decades has been a Charlie Brown Christmas, the Vince Guaraldi soundtrack. I now have a new favorite Christmas song to include in that, and that's the old 97's I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here. Fantastic song. And the old 97's used to come to Chicago a lot, and I saw them a lot in the 90s at XRT shows. So it was really a double whammy of, hey, it's the old 97's. Hey, it's actually a really good song. So I thought it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And I thought that was the Bacon Brothers at the end when Kevin Bacon was doing his band.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
because the first song's the 97s. The old ones.
Because he tours around here with his brother doing the Bacon Brothers shit. So yeah.
So wait a minute, he doesn't live in Hollywood?
No, he lives in Connecticut. He lives up near Sharon, Connecticut.
Everybody lives in Connecticut.
No, it's true. I see them in the Ghost.
Actually, he does live in Connecticut. I knew that, but I was going to go for comedic effect, saying, "Wait a minute, I thought the show was real, and you lived in Hollywood."
That's an accurate depiction of Kevin Bacon's life.
When it opened up, I thought he was in Connecticut. He's like, "Oh, you're going to be coming from New York," and then they showed California. Go, he doesn't live in California. He lives over here.
See, now I've totally changed my mind on the whole thing. I don't like it now. Now it sucks.
Yeah.
No,
his house was all this postmodern Christmas decorated thing.
I gotta tell you, Guardians Holiday Special, the best line I've heard in years. Karen Gillan as Nebula goes, "I guess all actors aren't complete pieces of shit."
Yep.
I fell off the couch laughing at that one because it was so good.
Well, the whole thing. Wait, you're not a real hero? He wasn't a real hero. Oh, he was an actor. Oh my God.
We hate you now.
Dave Bautista and Pomegranate Slushy, whatever her name is. I never remember her name.
Pomegranate Slushy.
Pom Clementeef.
Is it really Teeth? Clement Teeth?
Yeah, she was at my show. So yeah, I know.
All right, I assume. It's funny.
Teeth? Wow.
Wayne or Mitch, you should, if you've got a photo of her on your computer, you can share your screen and show you and Pom, or on your phone, however you want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to stress you.
No. No.
I don't want your head to explode. I don't want your brain to fart the way mine did before.
No.
I thought the whole thing was fun. It was silly.
Great.
It was fun. Yeah.
I guess I'm the only dissenting. I just said,
You're Canadian. What do you know?
What do I know? No, I just thought I had the same feeling about it that I did after Black Panther.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So when did
My
you become
black heart
dead
did
inside?
not feel any Christmas cheer from it.
At one point did you die inside? What,
Exactly.
What did that happen?
He gets
Don't
excited
say
about this.
No, I honestly thought it was an okay special. It was just
That's
you know
fine.
it was it was up there with the Star Wars holiday special.
Oh,
No.
Wow,
No.
no, stop it.
Come
No.
Come on,
Yeah.
Much
no.
funnier.
I felt the
No,
same
this is
way.
the last time you're on the show. I'm sorry.
Hey, Wayne, I showed Chucky the holiday special literally just a couple weeks ago. All right, stand by, Mitch. Hang on. Keep it
Wait a
up.
minute. She doesn't have a little antenna on her head.
I know, guys, when she's
This
in
is
her
all a lie.
it's
is it?
insane because when
That's
she's
her.
in her Mantis makeup,
Yes.
I think she looks like Joyce DeWitt from Three's Company.
I can see
Why
that.
is
Yeah.
Janet
see
sad?
that.
She just looks like Janet. It's sad.
Yeah. She's half Japanese and half French.
Yeah,
So it's
she's
got it's a
Canadian.
little combo there. But I'll tell you, she was funny. I mean, they don't really give her a lot to do, but when she turned around and Drax was like, "Yeah, what about this? Will you stop talking about the fucking nut?" I was like, "Whoa, that's
no,
funny.
she's come on." And when she was ringing the Kevin Bacon's bell,
Yeah.
she's great. And Dave Bautista is always great.
Batista's good.
I'm bummed the next movie is going to be his last.
I gotta admit, we noticed that they did save some money on this show because what was going on with Groot? It looked like one of those characters you see at Disney World that walk around and take
I
pictures.
said that to my wife too.
As soon as it started, I go, "Why is Groot so fat?"
But then I got. Well, he's going through a stage. But I did right after that though. There's this thing where he's opening the present or something like that, and I was looking at the articulation on the hands, and I'm like, well, maybe I imagined that bad costume part before, but no, I didn't. It was a bad costume.
I had no problem. I got to be honest, guys. I didn't have a problem with it.
On the far shots, I know. Plus, I also know Batista was wearing a vest and some big gloves because he's like, "I'm not doing the full body suit. I'm not working out for this thing."
Right, which is fine.
But you know,
I mean,
not that they cheaped out, but they did.
But if that was the deal breaker for Dave to not do Drax anymore, I would have given him a shirt.
No, his deal breaker is unless James Gunn is involved, he doesn't want to do it.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, and especially, first of all, he doesn't need it anymore. He's made his mark.
Right.
That's getting older.
I absolutely, and I'm sure he doesn't want to work out the way that he had to. But also, he's loyal to James Gunn, and James Gunn was treated like shit by Disney.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I thought they were actually going to do a variety show, like a Donnie Marie thing. Literally going into this, I thought it was going to be like a 45-minute flashback to the 70s with like song and dances. And
there was a lot of singing in that thing.
There was for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, Bacon's song was fine.
Yeah,
that's where I was meh with Wayne.
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
It was. Oh no! Again, I knew about the Bacon brothers and everything.
Yeah.
I know he's a competent musician and everything, but I really liked it. Oh, Dowd says the special reminded him of the old '70s Christmas specials, like Bing Crosby and the Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, certainly that was the vibe, but thankfully they still kept it Guardians.
Yeah,
Christ, even Chris Pratt was great for the 10 minutes that he did or whatever. Yeah. Funny as hell with the 97s.
I thought it was great. The rotoscoping Ralph Bakshi throwback. Rotoscoping.
Animation at the beginning. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It looked like heavy metal. Remember the heavy metal?
Oh,
yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Chuck and I watched heavy metal after watching the holiday special. It's like, let's watch it again. We watched everything but Tarna. We were like, I'm like, all right, I like Tarna, but like too long.
Too much.
It
was fun. It was fun. And it sets up the Guardians 3, I think.
Does it?
In May. Yeah, because they said that they bought Nowhere. They bought the big thing from the collector. And when the Guardians 3 opens up, apparently they're like, that's their home.
They're the landlords.
Yeah.
Langley has a question. With Gunn now in charge of DC, what are the chances we could eventually get a Marvel DC crossover one day?
Never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Slim and
unless Disney buys DC, which who knows at this point what happens.
And while we're on the subject of Marvel and Guardians and stuff, and I'm glad Stanley brought this up because I wanted to ask you guys as well. The Tarantino comment that Marvel characters are important, not the actors.
Oh,
and
please.
I mean, I honestly always appreciate Tarantino's point of view.
Yeah.
95% of the time. This is one of those 5% where I'm like, you know what I'm talking about. You don't.
So this is the director that uses the same people over and over again.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And he rips off all these old movies. I'm like, you've never had an original idea in your life. You've just like made
they're pastiches.
Homages.
Homages. Yes, that's better.
Yes. Oh, look, it's Jackie Brown, which is all the blaxploitation 70s movies. I'm like, okay.
Tell me that Chadwick Boseman was not a good actor.
Yeah.
And that even if he wasn't a movie star before Black Panther, he definitely became a movie star in his own right after that movie came out.
Well, and the great thing is with Boseman specifically, now you go back to his filmography, and yeah, they did not have the mainstream holy shit, but now it's like you really appreciate 42. You really appreciate the James Brown movie, Fruitvale Station.
He was great in the James Brown movie, yeah.
He is our 21st century James Dean in terms of, at the end of the day, small body of work, but an indelible impact on the business.
Yeah,
no, he will be remembered. And
I agree with you. I just don't think that there can be an indelible impact on the business in modern times the way there used to be.
Absolutely not the way it used to be.
Yeah, I agree with your sentiment, though. But yeah,
I mean, well, this is of the 2010s. This is one of the most significant actors of that era.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, but Tarantino to say that the stars of the movie are the characters and not the actors, they don't make it. I'm like, let me tell you, Iron Man was never a big fucking hero. He was a C-class hero. Robert Downey Jr. made people give a shit about Iron Man. That's the actor doing that. That's not.
Well, not only that, but it was a huge confluence of events. It was the writing, the directing, the star, the effects, everything. Everything came together in that picture. If it didn't, none of this Marvel universe would exist at all. And it just worked really, really well. And they kept going right after that. So
no, when I see Tarantino and Scorsese come out with these like bold statements and stuff, I go, okay, what are you trying to promote? You're trying to get some headlines. You're not in the limelight or something, because it's always like, why do you have to bring down other people to try to make a name for yourself? Like, oh, they suck. Okay, well, what
did the actor from Shang-Chi say about Scorsese, or did he say something about Scorsese or Tarantino? It's like
he said, they were all white movies. Like there was no Asian. He's like, hey, it was good for you guys, but for people like me, we didn't have any movie roles or anything. That Marvel's given roles to Indian actors and Asian actors and all that. Where the fuck are all you white guys doing? They don't answer that question. They all back away from that. Oh, well, I gave Sam Jackson and what's her name, Foxy Brown,
Pam Grier.
I gave that. Well, what about all the other actors of color out there? You didn't do anything for them. But they don't talk about that. They shy away from that nonsense.
Actually, I haven't seen it yet. Netflix has Elvis Mitchell's latest documentary that really focuses on the blaxploitation era. And you guys know Elvis Mitchell, great movie critic. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I actually got to meet him in San Diego one year and talked for about 5 minutes, and I tried to get him to go on Word Balloon. He took my card, but of course.
Yeah.
Just
He's
imagine.
regretting it now, though.
Here's the thing. If Tarantino's so against the superhero, why was he so hard on to do a Star Trek movie? What did he want to do to Star Trek so badly?
I hear you.
Was he a fan of it, or did he want to destroy it and just to say, look at that? That's what it
I heard his interview on Howard Stern, and he was saying that they might still possibly do that. That he gave up. No, not him involved with it, but his story.
His idea.
His idea, yeah.
I hope so. I mean, again, I welcome it. It the basics that we heard about it sounded interesting. The cool thing is, and what I got out of that Metalis Den of Geek interview was that it sounds really like Metalis and the Next Generation cast are like, this doesn't have to be the last ride. It might be the last season of Picard. And even Patrick Stewart said in New York that he would love to continue. So it is very interesting, and I don't think it's a wild, unless it really sucks.
Yeah,
I think finally they're going to get the results that they want, and this might be the unifying show where all of us are going to be like, finally.
I always thought Riker, if they did a sequel, it was always going to be Riker's show. Like Riker was going to go off. I always thought that was the next Star Trek.
I thought it was going to be Worf. I thought we were going to have a Captain Worf story.
You might remember that a couple of years ago, Worf was pitching Paramount, and they turned him down. And it's just, and it is interesting because now too, the makeup is easier. It really is more vinyl mask versus the appliances that were of the Westmore Berman era and stuff. And I really do think it's like you probably could do it and do it a lot more reasonable. I mean, God, look at again the 50 new Klingons that they came up with during Discovery and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's I hope so. We're 6 weeks away from season 3 of Picard.
Speaking of Disney and Guardians and stuff, what did you guys think about the Sunday night announcement that Bob Iger was coming back as CEO? I'm sitting there going, how bad did this other guy fuck up that you're firing him? No, it's Sunday night. It's 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I'm watching football and I see this. I go, you know how you either had to murder somebody or you had to get caught in a devil worshiping thing. I mean, on a Sunday night, you replace the CEO.
No, I'll tell you what that is. That is board members coming out of a meeting going, the fuck are we going to do? This place is going down in flames. Hey, we should get that other guy back. You think he'd come back? I don't know. And that was on a Friday. That was a Friday afternoon meeting. Well, and then they're all talking to each other, and then they all make phone calls, and then by Sunday night, that guy's out and the new guy's in again.
Wow. The return of Iger. Well, let's go through the laundry list, obviously, starting with the stuff that was out of their control, like the pandemic and the cruises and the parks going down.
That was all his fault.
Exactly.
No, you can't.
And then you had Black Widow and all the bad pub that Scarlett Johansson, hey, I'm not getting paid what the other guys are getting paid. And you're screwing me on Black Widow because you're releasing it as a streamer only and not theaters. Then there was the political problems with the gay workers at Disney and their kind of ambivalent political position on gay stuff. So all of that was under Chapek's run.
Yeah.
And so I mean, they were already.
Didn't Iger come out and say, like, when that happened with the stuff? He came out and said, no, that's terrible. That they shouldn't be treated that way about all the gay employees and things like that. He had a comment like immediately, and he's like, well, you got right or wrong, you got to do what's right. You know, in moments like that. So
so no, I mean, Disney's taken it on the chin the last 2 years.
Also, it doesn't help that the governor's sort of up their ass too.
Yeah, exactly. And then I heard that they were losing money on the streaming service, which I'm like, wait a minute, how can you be losing money on this shit? Because everybody I know has Disney Plus. If they might not have Paramount, they might not have Showtime or HBO, but it seems like everybody has Disney Plus.
It's millions compared to billions, given what you can make in the theaters. Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, no, you're right. But also, I don't think it offsets the daily park and cruise money. No. I mean, that's the thing. I just think the very big picture.
Think about how much they lost during the pandemic.
50%. 50% circumstances like the pandemic, and then the other 50% is Chapek fucking up.
You think about how much one of the parks pulls in per day, and you look at like China where they're closing it every other day. Yeah, because of lockdowns and COVID protocols and they just raised the prices again in Florida for all the parks except for Animal Kingdom, because they want more people to go to Animal Kingdom because their attendance was down, so they didn't raise the price on that. So it's
and they don't have to pay the animals anything. So
well, they're not.
My family are big Disney fans, and they're going to Florida this March. And they're not too sure if they're doing Disney because it's getting too expensive to take a family.
Yeah,
it's true.
There you go.
But no, going back to the money on Disney Plus they're losing. Do you think it's because they're spending money to get top quality people. Like you got James Gunn doing this
Oh,
special.
yeah.
You have
Sure.
Andor, because you got to keep feeding the beast. You can't let it lapse, and that's not cheap.
Right.
Mandalorian, all this stuff here.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they going to do? They can't run out, but you can't stop the service now. Like
Yes.
Paramount Plus, they have Star Trek. What else are they spending all their money on?
I'll tell you, and I was going to bring this show up anyway. And Franco and I have watched all 3 episodes. That new Stallone Bob show, Tulsa.
Oh, I've watched it. Yeah, no,
outstanding, outstanding. I've loved all 3 episodes. Terrence Winter is part of the writing staff and producing staff, and you always know that he's got quality work going back to The Sopranos and everything. It's the Yellowstone guy as well. I think it's
to Mitch's point though, that's only like 1 or 2 shows. It's Yellowstone, Tulsa King, but compared to what Disney's got,
but again, I think Paramount is building slowly. The Good Fight is a very good show. If you weren't into The Good Wife, I can understand not watching it, but it is a very good Lost show. And then also,
did you watch Halo?
The Yellowstone prequel, of course, along with
I didn't see Halo. No.
Yeah, I heard too many bad things about Halo. I don't know, but I know it wasn't a cheap show.
That'd be the one that I thought would be more expensive, like that in Star Trek. Halo and Star Trek would be their expensive shows.
I did notice this. So remember I mentioned to you before how none of the Disney Plus stuff is available on Blu-ray or whatever?
Yes.
I was at the store because it was, the big holiday weekend sales. Halo is available, the season 1 on a Blu-ray. There was another one. All the Star Treks are available. I don't know if Discovery's last season's out yet, but they were having a big sale on Paramount Plus, of all places, Walmart. When you walked in, there was giant posters, and it said, "Get Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, SpongeBob, Yellowstone," and they're promoting all their other shows. They didn't mention Discovery, but they were saying it's only like $9 a month or something, or $4 a month. They're having a big Christmas sale to get people to hook up to the Paramount streaming network. So I'm like, oh, they're trying. At least I don't see Disney falling over backwards.
Disney's doing the same. Well, Disney's doing the same thing. They're offering like a discount to get like everything bundled, the ESPN, Hulu, whatever bundled together. Yeah.
Is CBS? That's Paramount now, right? Or is that another thing?
Yeah, it's Paramount.
Paramount.
Okay, because I saw somebody said, "Oh, CBS Online." I thought that was all one big network now. So.
Yes.
Like Peacock is NBC's thing.
Did you know? I don't know if you guys have Epix, one of the cable channels, but come January they're turning themselves to MGM Plus.
Oh, so they get all the James Bond movies? No, that's Amazon.
No, that's Amazon. They bought them. Yeah.
Well, but they're all part of. I'm assuming if Epix is changed to MGM Plus, I'm assuming they're also part of the Amazon MGM thing.
And TNT and TBS, that's all part of HBO Warner's now, right?
Correct. There's also apparently another Yellowstone prequel.
Yeah, with Harrison Ford.
Right, 1923. Do we know, is that a limited series or is that?
Yeah, it's 6 episodes. It starts December 18th.
Oh, great.
Season 1 is 6 episodes. So
isn't Helen Mirren in that?
Yeah.
She plays his wife.
And also another show on Paramount Plus was The Offer with Miles Teller, all about the making of The Godfather.
Yep.
That was a good show.
That was good. Yeah.
Tulsa King's interesting so far. I thought it was going to be not as good as it's been so far.
I agree. It's smarter than I thought it was going to be.
They are saving money because Stallone really is the only big star on that show. I mean, I don't recognize
Dana Delaney as well. And they finally showed her, because it's funny, she's been in the credits since episode 1, and they finally showed her in episode 3.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Dana Delaney. Oh,
yeah. But I mean, for a guy like Stallone, he's not making the big movie money anymore. I mean,
no, but I'm sure he wasn't cheap.
No, he's not. But
I mean, I think it was mutually beneficial for Paramount and Stallone. I mean, Stallone's 74, 75. Just like
he's not doing big action stuff in it.
Exactly, man. I mean, it's just like Harrison Ford at 80.
He's
doing
80,
Indiana Jones now. I mean, it's
How old is Costner? He's in his 70s, right?
Let's find out.
Because he's got to be in his mid-60s, I would think.
Yeah, that's what I'm betting too.
Because that there's always that stigma. Once you go on TV, your movie career is kind of over. But now it seems to be.
I don't think that holds true today. Like I was saying to Johnny before, it's a whole different animal now.
He's 67.
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mitch, that was my problem with Birdman. with Michael Keaton, and I love that movie.
Yeah.
But when they're like, "Oh, I'm going to do this," if I go back to doing these movies, I can't do critically acclaimed stuff, and it's like, tell Robert Downey Jr. that.
Yeah.
Tell Benedict Cumberbatch that. It's like, no, that's 1990s thinking, and that's the one thing about Birdman that kept me from fully enjoying the movie. I'm like, I don't believe that premise, and I don't think that problem exists anymore that you're spelling out, Mitch. I really don't.
Do you think De Niro would ever be on a TV show?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Depends on what the project would be, but yeah.
Well, I mean, you could argue that the Netflix mob movie that Scorsese made.
Oh, the Irishman. Yeah.
4 hours long. I mean, it really was.
Yeah, it's a whole different animal nowadays. It's long form storytelling rather than episode chopping.
Episodic, yeah. You don't
episodic,
have to do 4 episodes or 20 episodes a
year.
Right,
you could do 6 episodes. You could do 5 episodes, and it could be a season. You could do it however many you want for a season.
Like the BBC model.
Johnny would know this, being an expert on old TV. When you had your Jimmy Stewart show, which I remember as a kid, but I remember the Fred McMurray, when he'd show up on My Three Sons, he would film 1 day a week, and then they'd work around him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was what, I mean, basically these guys were at the twilight of their career, and they kind of knew it. So it was like, okay, I'm going to just get this for the, insurance money, or I don't know what the
everything.
union.
Well, yeah, but everything. I mean, I know I've said this before to at least Franco. I got to know William Peterson on a I would almost say friendship level, but good acquaintance level where we were hanging out a lot. Yeah. And this was years before CSI, and he was making the movie Cousins with Ted Danson. Oh. And he's like, man, you're so big. Why don't you walk away from Cheers? And Danson said, are you nuts? Doing a TV show is the greatest gig in the world. You work 4 days a week, 10-hour days. You get breaks during the year. You've got the summer hiatus. I can sneak in movies, do movies on my downtime, and I'm also a producer on Cheers, so I'm making money from the show. It's the best of both worlds. And then Les Moonves came after Bill, with CSI, and he was thrilled because he's like, it's my retirement plan. I'm set. Yeah. And not only is he's one of the obvious producers of the old show and the Vegas show, but he gets a cut of all the CSIs and NCISs.
Wow.
Isn't he back now for didn't they bring it back again with him?
Vegas, yeah. CSI Las Vegas. Poor guy had exhaustion shooting that first season and actually needed to take a break. And I hope he's okay. I have not spoken to Bill literally since 2005. But the last time we spoke, we were laughing and having a great time.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I called him, he would.
You should reach out and have him on the show.
It's always so weird though, because I saw Vincent D'Onofrio once talking about the worst time of his acting career is when he was on one of those SUV shows or Law and Order, whatever the hell they are.
Who was saying the worst time? I'm sorry,
Vincent D'Onofrio, the Kingpin. He's like, it was the same thing. I was there day after day, year after year, 18-hour days, and it's this and that, and you don't go anywhere, and it's a finite character.
That's a very formulaic show, though. I mean, that's what you're doing every episode. You know, I can't tell you. Yeah, I can't tell you how many people on that show were, because my family had a restaurant in Westchester, and everybody who was some sort of actor who lived in the area or was on a soap opera in New York City was on that show. Because it was all filmed here. It was all episode. It was very formulaic, and they were on multiple episodes, as well. So
that's my two screenwriter or playwright actor friends are like, oh no, you really have to suck to not to show up on Law and Order. You really are like, you should look in the mirror if you're not doing a couple Law and Orders and stuff, and they certainly did. So yeah,
I always remember him saying how bad it was. Yet then he's doing Daredevil, and I guess so. But I'm like, you're still doing TV stuff, buddy. I mean,
but it's a shorter schedule than a full 24 episode commitment, the way it was just a couple of years ago. And God, Arrow, Stephen Amell. When they did the crossovers, he's like, wait, 2 more episodes for everybody? Fuck you. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially the word was that not only him, a lot of the CW leads were not happy about doing the crossover because it meant more episodes and more work. Yeah. And they were not happy about that. I mean, it's And I would say it depends on the individual and also the show, because Cheers, half-hour sitcom versus
the
New York show and everything, Law and Order being on location and a lot of street, where Cheers they're sitting at the bar most of the time.
Well, there was definitely a change when it came to actors and contracts, because I remember Jimmy Doohan being on that kids Saturday morning show, Jason A Star Command, and it's like he just needed some money. I mean, it's a stupid kids show on Saturdays, and he's like the admiral or whatever it was, and it's so bad. At the end of the day, it's a paycheck,
All the Screen Actors Guild, older actors, and now it makes sense to me how many former old Hollywood people were making lousy horror movies in the 70s.
Yeah. Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Oh, all those game shows. Are you kidding me?
Well, certainly, but more so the acting and stuff, it was to maintain their health insurance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on Gilbert Gottfried's podcast, one of the Golden Girls writers was told, you guys remember the character actor Sid Melton? You'd recognize him he did a really great Dick Van Dyke, where he was a butcher, a little bit older than Sally, and was pursuing Sally. That was his big episode on Dick Van Dyke. But he was Danny Thomas's manager on Make Room for Daddy, that show that lasted 11 seasons. And it was the 90s, and they're like, hey, can you throw Sid Melton a bone? He really needs a gig to maintain his health insurance. And they made him Sophia's dead husband that appeared as a ghost and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And again, I mean, and like a couple times, and it's like, all right, great. That's enough. That'll cover, because you just need to make a minimum amount of money and you get, 100% health insurance.
It's too bad the comic book industry doesn't have such a thing.
Hey, man, believe me, my last years in radio, the TV and radio union merged with the Screen Actors Guild. And I was very pleased because, it was great health insurance, fantastic health insurance. So, what are you going to do? I agree with Langley. I still don't know how people did 26-hour-long episodes a season. Hell, man, go back to the 50s and 60s.
30s.
39.
Yeah.
39. Jesus. Especially when you consider the variety shows like Jackie Gleason and Sid Caesar, and they basically had to do like a Broadway review.
Yeah.
For 90 minutes every week, 39 weeks.
You know what helped? These guys grew up poor and they liked making money, so they worked their fucking ass off.
Well,
that's how things used to be.
But they were also young and energetic. Yeah. Television was brand new, and I really dude, I think, and certainly now, hey, Friday 58, good fucking Lord. But I think back to my 20s, I got 10 times more done when I had the energy and stuff. And I'm not saying I'm like
you just need the little blue pill.
You do.
I think
and she'll like it too.
I think I need the little green flower.
Speaking of old actors, what do you think about Shatner coming out saying he's amazed that these people hated him so much? And they're still going at it. They're still fighting back and forth like that.
Yeah, but
grumpy old men. They've done this a million times
for 30 years, man. It's like, all right, shut up. But it's not there. The problem is, it's like clickbait. It is clickbait.
Yeah.
It's like asking Ellen Moore about Watchmen.
Yeah.
For comic book nerds. It's like, yeah, we know. All right, we know.
You don't like each other.
I really want to buy that new collection of short stories that includes his
Shatner.
Alan Moore. Oh, thanks.
Oh.
Yeah, Friday's my birthday. Thank you, Dad. That's very nice.
Happy birthday, Johnny.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Old man.
How did you
man, look at my life?
So what we were talking about Tulsa King, and we went off on a tangent there. How do you?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I guess we finished our piece, but I liked it better than I thought I would.
Like it a lot.
Well, I finally got around to watch Samaritan, so I like him.
What's
the older Stallone is pretty good.
I thought for a low budget action quasi superhero movie, I thought it was great. I thought
it was kind of like M. Night Shyamalan's.
The
Bruce Willis character.
Right. Yeah.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable,
and then Split, and then
whenever
they got together.
Right.
Yeah, but it was that type of. It was that type of level.
Last movie. Go ahead.
Oh, it was that type of level of. Of superhero.
A little but a little more not mythical, but
yeah,
I don't even know what you
sort of
call
like
it.
This is what Hancock would look like down the road.
Much better comparison. I agree with that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's a Lionsgate movie, but it's a good Lionsgate movie. I mean, that's the thing. It's like sometimes these low budget studios can actually make something entertaining. And also I'm glad it's on Amazon. I don't know if it was ever released in theaters. I don't think it would necessarily do well in theaters. But it's better, isn't it better than some of the other superhero attempts, both comedy and straight up, that Netflix has tried and the other streamers have tried, and they don't have existing properties to exploit. But I think I thought Samaritan was a great story. The kid wasn't annoying. Yeah,
haven't seen it.
Stallone did a great job. It's on Amazon, Francis. I
gotta watch it.
It was
I wanted. I'm sorry, real fast, because Doubt mentions that he's really been enjoying Welcome to Chippendales, and it's been cool. And he loves the late 70s vibe on that show. Najani or Kumali Nanjan or Nanjan.
Yes.
Going back to what, and this is not what I was referring to earlier, but when Simi Lou was saying, there haven't been great, opportunities for people. I heard him talk about getting jacked for
Eternals,
yeah. And it was really interesting. And he loves doing it. He's thrilled that he's part of the Marvel Universe. And again, there's another guy that I think already was maybe not a superstar, but certainly young people are aware of him. Silicon Valley, his great movie, The Big Sick. I think he is tapping into the 20-somethings and was already a star before he got Eternals.
He's like the new Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
It is a very apt comparison.
His character, Kingo, was mentioned in the background at Guardians of the Galaxy. When they were walking down the streets of Hollywood, there was one of his movie posters in the background. I was like, oh, Kingo. He was good. I liked him.
Funny.
I was going to bring up when he said low budget, Albert Pyun, I believe I said his name right, director of the shitty Captain America movie with J.D. Salinger. Matt Salinger.
Yes, I saw that guy passed away.
He passed away, but also made one of the great B sword and sorcery movies ever, The Sword and the Sorcerer, with Kathleen Beller, Lee Horsley, and Richard Mall.
Oh, geez.
Richard Mall. And it was about this guy. His name was Talon. He had a sword that had 3 blades and it shot out. And Richard Mall was in it before Night Court. And he was like this devil guy. And Kathleen Beller, she had these big, giant lungs that were all in the movie. And she was on Dynasty. And it was great. So anyway, hats off, Albert Pyun, wherever you are.
And it's been released in 4K.
And I'm going to go buy it.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. For real?
Lee Horsley, Matt Houston.
That's right, Matt Houston, absolutely.
They had a great effect when the swords were hitting each other. Sparks were flying. I'm like, that's great. But then I didn't realize when you watch it, you could see the black cable taped to the guy's arm. One guy was basically negative and the other guy was positive. So they would hit each other. They would, sparks. It was so shitty. It was good. But anyway.
It's like Ice Pirates.
Ice Pirates.
God, I didn't realize this. Langley and Doubt have had an interesting back and forth. I didn't realize that Peter David was ailing and has a GoFundMe account to help him out. So I'm sorry to hear that. Everyone go to GoFundMe and do a Google.
Well, he's had kidney problems for the last couple of years. So
there you go, man. That's sad.
What do you think of James Cameron coming out?
Stand by.
There you go, Mitch.
There it is.
Oh yeah.
I will. Oh my God, $41.
That's Canadian.
Oh, then American it's like $5.
Yeah, it's $5. Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna have to break out a lot of loot.
Get some back bacon. I was gonna say, what do you think of James Cameron coming out and saying that it has to make
buy that out.
$2 billion Avatar has to make to break even? I'm like, what the hell did you spend all that money on, buddy?
I am so not interested in it.
I
could care less. I'm like, oh, it opens. I don't care. I don't
know. The first one was just curiosity, at best. And I did not like the story. I did not like the movie. I'm like, why are these things sticking their penis tails into other things? And it was
Pocahontas with blue people. I already saw this movie.
I thought it was Dances with Wolves with blue
Dances with Wolves, exactly. The only good effect was the snowflake thing when it was in 3D. And nobody remembers this, but they charged more money to go see Avatar
I remember.
Because it was the IMAX 3D, and I remember the ticket. The ticket was like $15 or $18 because I took my kids, and I go, "Holy shit! Why am I paying so much more?" That's why it made a lot of money because they fucking jacked up the prices.
Yep. Are they going to do the same thing now?
I bet they will. I bet they will.
In this current environment, that's a very interesting experiment. If they charge more than the regular ticket price for Avatar 2, and again, I know it's going to be obviously in standard and in IMAX, as I believe it was back in the day, but still, that's going to be very.
I'm in two very distinct bubbles, right? I'm in the comics community bubble, and that's what I see on social media and stuff like that. I have not seen anybody talking about this, and if I have seen anybody talking about it, they don't want to see it. And then the other distinct bubble I'm in is in the kids realm because of school and everything like that. Yeah. No one has mentioned this at all. Like, they've mentioned other movies or other shows, but they are not mentioning this, and I'm wondering if anything's going to happen with it at all.
Langley says, turns out that quote is wrong. Cameron was referring to needing to make enough domestically. It needs to hit third highest in North America, which
not
is 900 million, not 2 billion.
That's still a lot.
Doubt says it was like $25 a ticket for Avatar on the Upper East Side theaters.
Oh yeah.
And Lenny says I'll never underestimate Cameron, though I did it twice before. The guy's a great filmmaker. Nobody disagrees with that. I just think, again, in this current environment, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. This is a really good movie litmus test in a way that Spider-Man wasn't, and the current Marvel movies aren't, because, or Star Wars. I mean, Avatar is a proven franchise. Before I forget too, our dear friend Karina Becco wrote an in-between Avatar story for IDW, a miniseries. And I spoke to her about it. And again, I'm thrilled. Anytime Karina gets a gig, I'm very happy because she's great. And so I'm certainly rooting for her. But yeah, I have to admit, I'm like, oh, all right. So what else you want to talk about?
No, I'll tell you what. We were on the radio live, and then we said, "Oh, what's the number one movie of all time?" Nobody in the room knew what it was. We were like, "Oh, it's the Avengers." No, it's Star Wars. No, and it took a couple minutes. A guy had to look up. He goes, "Oh, it's Avatar." Everybody in the room went, "It is?" Oh, yeah, I guess so.
No one paid more money for it. Yeah.
No one remembered the movie. No one wanted to even talk about it. Like, oh yeah, I guess it was like, really, Titanic.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers Avatar. Honestly, if they never made another sequel, I don't think anybody would ever go, "Oh yeah, Avatar."
And again, that I think the movie studios are almost happy with that because they just want your money. They don't care. They don't care if you remember it or not. And also this kind of that movie, I believe, Avatar, even more so supports the Scorseses and Coppolas who hate Marvel movies and are like, they're not movies, they're carnival rides, blah blah blah. And again, I don't agree. And it was mentioned in the chat as well. It does disappoint me that these guys who came in with a new way of filmmaking cannot accept the fact that this is another new way of filmmaking. And further, I'm sorry, man, it's no different with the horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Movies for decades before television relied on the idea of being a giant hall and a bunch of people getting together and watching something. It took a hit in the 50s when TV came out, and we're in another different stage where, again, I think it's more from a good storytelling standpoint that, no, you've got a bigger canvas on the streaming movie. And I'm sorry, I think the 2-hour movie, especially at these current ticket prices, is a big ask. If you're not doing amazing things, that's a very big ask.
Yeah, I mean, the whole landscape, and this is like the third time I'm saying now, it's a different landscape now. Take, for example, Tim Burton and the new Wednesday show that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Which I did not know that. I'm 4 episodes in. He's directed every episode.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was shocked.
He didn't direct the last part.
Okay, well, I don't know. Like, the first 4 episodes is all I've seen, and he's directed those 4. And that to me was shocking because I saw his name on the first one. And I'm like, oh, I thought he was only executive producer or whatever.
Sure.
So he directed the first one, pilot episode, blah, blah, blah. Second one, third. I'm like, wow. I assumed he was directing all of them. He may not have, according to you. But he's directed the first 4 that I've seen. And I'm like, these are pretty good. I'm enjoying the show a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and who would have ever thought that someone like Tim Burton, who's doing these fantastic visual movies, is now coming to Netflix?
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
I hear you. Well, you know, Gunn, of course, didn't Gunn direct all the Peacemaker?
yeah,
episodes?
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
And again, there are filmmakers that get it, and there are filmmakers. Again, it's sad, but these are the guys that are in their 70s and 80s, and they don't want to get it, and that's okay. Again, I still appreciate what they put. I love The Irishman. I thought The Irishman was incredible.
Still haven't seen it.
It's fantastic.
yeah.
It seems long.
Well, but there are natural breaks for you to stop it and get come back to it. I watched it over 2 nights, and didn't feel like I missed anything doing it that way.
Speaking of long, what about Andor? Let's go back.
Oh my gosh!
Let's wrap up.
I can't figure out if I like it or not.
Oh, I do. I like it a lot. I thought it was a great.
There's some really good stuff in there, and then it's also like
yeah, but again, it's
what is this?
As I've heard and seen other people describe it, it's like an HBO drama of Star Wars.
Yeah,
it is, and I think they're getting into deep characterization.
Okay.
And I love seeing his mom and that whole speech, and I think we're seeing a very visceral rise of the rebels. And
I get that. I get that.
I think all the seeds as much of, especially the early episodes of this first half of the season, were a slog. I think they're paying off, and I do think by this last episode, it's like, okay, now we get because it's not just Andor's story. It's the chick that needs to get married to unite the different positions.
I'm getting all that. My issue with this is I think I'm not sure what to think of it. I like the story. I like where it's going. I like what they're doing, but it's 12 episodes long where it could have been 6 episodes. Is my feeling on the whole thing.
I'm with Franco on that one.
Yeah, that's just how I feel about it.
I agree with Langley. The perfect thing the franchise needed, a different flavor of the universe. As much as I love Jedis and the sci-fi,
I get the whole different flavor. I get it, but for me, I love the whole underworld, resistance building. I love all that. I really do. What my issue is that it's 12 episodes where it could have easily fit into 6 episodes for me. Those first 3 episodes, watched them. I turned to my son because they released all 3 of them together.
That's right.
Watched them, and I said, wow, I'm glad they released them all together because I don't think I would have watched them.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because it's just so much time in between things. And it's like, where's this thing going? That last episode had some really great stuff in it, but again, it's like, what is taking so long?
You know what the weird thing is about that? Here is, and I feel bad, but I have to go and watch these like YouTube shows that says 80 things you might have missed in Andor, because either I've just gotten so old and my attention span is gone, or the show is so long. I didn't even realize some of the storylines that were going on there. Like, I didn't know that Skarsgård's character showed up to kill
Andor.
I go, why is he there? And they go, oh no, he's here to kill Andor because he knows
he can identify him.
He can identify him. So if they capture Andor, he might, expose him. So I go, oh, that's good. But I didn't realize that was happening while I was watching. I go,
okay,
why is he there? They didn't.
You want to hear something really bad, Mitch?
What?
I watched an episode. I can't remember which episode it is, but I'm watching an episode and they're doing a recap. I'm like, when did this happen? What? Apparently, I fell asleep in the episode previous, and I didn't remember any of it. I thought I fell asleep for a minute, and then I woke up. And I'm like, oh, this is at the part I'm at, and I missed the whole thing.
But ironically, I want to rewatch 4 through 12.
That's fine.
Episodes?
I enjoyed it so much. Right. I do want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Do you guys know when it's coming back? And
I don't know if it's definitely coming back.
Of course it is. They made 24 episodes and it's doing well. I'm sorry, you're wrong.
I didn't know they made 24 episodes.
Yes.
I thought this was it because let me tell you something. I was like, where's the big robot that Alan Tudyk plays? I kept waiting for him to show up.
Sure.
And I'm like, he's not here. So they got to have that happen sooner or later.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with that not happening. Like I'm saying, like I said with the story, I'm fine with the story. I like things that are happening in the story. I like the rise of the resistance. I like what they're doing on this planet. Well, I don't like what they're doing to the people, but I like the storyline there. But again, why is it taking so many episodes to tell this?
Here's a weird thing that I don't know if they ever talked about it again. In the beginning of the show, all the adults were killed and all the kids were there. Remember the planet? They were left. It was like Lord of the Flies. They were wearing the adults like clothes, and then the ship came down and found him, and they took Andor back, and that was his new mother and all that stuff. And then he had a sister, and I'm like, well, what happened to the sister? There's like so many stories going on. I'm like, look, what's happening? The blonde girl that was Mon Mothma's cousin or sister or whatever, and then Mon Mothma had to marry off her daughter to the gangster because they needed the money to support the alliance or something like that, and that's what they were washing money or something.
They needed they needed a way to, because she funneled so much money out. They needed somewhere to show where the money went.
And they said the husband was gambling. She made up some lie about.
She made up stories that he was gambling, but they needed some more ideas to. It's they're trying to launder the money through a source. If they can use this person, it can sort of hide what they've been doing.
You see, now and again, it might sound bad, but I think the fact that they're trying to bring such real world shit into a story that has teddy bears and Jedis and wizards, that's where I'm having a problem with it.
Oh,
well, see, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't, because I think the galaxy is so freaking big that there's all these other things happening. I'm okay with that. Things that I'm upset with are in that last episode where they start off. I don't know if it's at the very beginning, but they show a kid building something where the guy is taking pieces of something and boiling them in that liquid to clean them. Right?
That was his father. That was his father. I didn't realize that.
But no, it's not, because I thought there was a flashback too. But then that kid shows up and throws a bomb in the riot.
No, that's the same.
That's young Andor when the
guy. That's why I was all confused, because I said to my son, I said, "This is Andor when he was younger," and Nick, my son goes, "Well, yeah, obviously." But then later, when the kid throws the bomb that he was building, I'm like, "Wait a minute!"
That's because
I got all confused.
He was working with was killed by the Empire when they stormed the salvage shop.
Yeah,
right. They took him and they killed him, so he's getting his revenge against the
the guy's face.
I gotta watch that last episode.
The guy's face that was on the hologram, that was his dad that got killed. Remember there was so that's that kid. But what Franco's talking about is when the guy
took the flashback.
And the acid, and it was cleaning off the rusty parts and stuff. That was little Andor, and that was the dad that he had that found him on that planet.
And that's the kid that threw the bomb in the riot.
No, it's a different kid.
Two different kids.
Totally different people.
It's the same kid. You can't change my mind.
And what?
No, go ahead.
And then the girl that was held hostage, and they made her listen to the headphones, and she was losing her mind, that Andor came and saved at the end, and she went off with the blonde chick, I think. Yeah, so she's all right. Now that was just a girlfriend he had, or she connect. She was with that bigger guy. Remember that huskier guy that was like on the planet?
Yeah.
Who was he with?
No, she was. I think it was like an unrequited love between the two of them. But she was hooked up with the guy that owned the shop, and then he squealed on Andor to the Empire, saying, "Hey, you're looking for this guy," because he just wants to get him out of the picture. He gets killed when he tries to squeal. She then gets caught by, this was like in I think the third episode. Where she was handcuffed against the wall, and then they got her released. But it was
why you need to rewatch.
I'm just saying,
And also, they just started filming season 2 last week. And in fact, Diego Luna, I saw an interview with him on Collider, I believe. Or no, was it Gizmo? It's Gizmodo, excuse me. And they said that a lot more of the elements of Rogue One will come into play in season 2. And as Langley pointed out, season 2 ends a few hours before Rogue One starts. So there's plenty of time. And then so another 12 episodes, but we're probably not going to get it till 2024. Oh well.
And I was with Franco because how long was he on that prison planet? Like a year?
I don't know.
We don't know.
Again, that's why I got to rewatch it.
You
Those were
almost
good
have to watch
episodes.
it
I
to
like
get the
those.
little time on his cell.
Yeah,
to have
the little
countdown.
plot. Yeah.
I liked the bonus clip, the bonus scene at the end after the credits. Although I roll my eyes that once again it's always about. I mean, it does make sense for Rogue One for it to be about the Death Star.
Yeah,
but it is like, guys, really, we get it. Okay, it's like the Death Star. Like, I don't know how much more you want to say.
Well, that's
but again, another series in Star Wars where I'm like, okay, it's Star Wars. I'm going to watch it because I love Star Wars stuff. But how vested am I in Andor when I know what happens to him in Rogue One?
It's the journey. I don't understand why that, especially someone who writes stories for a living.
Absolutely.
I agree with you that sometimes prequels have that burden and it makes it less enjoyable. But what you need to do is focus on the journey and not worry about, we know how it ends. I mean, again,
Conan Doyle brought back Sherlock Holmes after he killed him.
Yeah, but that's different.
No. But again,
don't throw a spanner into this specific argument about prequels. No, and again, I get the inherent.
No, I do enjoy the journey. I really do. But whenever he gets in trouble or whenever he's about to maybe get blasted or something, I know it's not going to happen. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, you know that because it's a prequel. You know he's going to get blown up in the Death Star.
Yeah.
Well, and again,
wait, he does.
That was
what
the problem. That was the problem with Obi-Wan. I mean, again, it's like, no, we know where the story's going. We know where it ends.
Right.
I what's interesting? I didn't realize, and again, because I didn't watch Clone Wars or Rebels, but I actually had to take an Uber today, and the guy had just a ton of Star Wars plushies on his dashboard. I'm like, I know what we're going to talk about for my ride. And he's like, oh, great. I'm always happy to talk to another Star Wars guy. And he had told me that the third sister from Obi-Wan was featured in Rebels and Wars. Yeah. I didn't know that. Wayne, that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm halfway through Clone Wars right now. I'm on season 3 or 4.
As my buddy Efren Guzman says, Better Call Saul is a prequel. We knew what happened at the end, but it was the journey.
But again, we know what happens.
I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Well, we watched Strange New Worlds. We know where they all end up.
That's true too. Yeah, right.
I wish I was watching that now.
I tried, and I'll probably still go back to it and finish it. But I tried to rewatch that last episode, and I forget who I was talking to. Like, I really, really liked the final episode of Strange New Worlds. The Balance of Terror revamp. And I'm like, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'm wrong. Let me rewatch it again. And right now I'm still like, no, I see the flaws more than the strengths. And I mean, again, we all love Anson Mount. We all love Anson Mount. He's our favorite Captain Pike.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know.
Hey, speaking of prequels, there's certain shows that you can't go back to. Remember they tried that Sopranos movie, The Saints of Newark?
I liked it. Many Saints of Newark, yeah.
Would you watch if they brought back a prequel series to the
about
Sopranos?
that era? I absolutely would. Okay. I absolutely just look at Yellowstone and what they're. I didn't know about 1923. So yeah, man, it's a different time. It's a different story. Yes, there are familiar characters, and again, we know where they're going, like Junior.
Yeah,
and, all of them. But that said, in fact, the woman that plays Olivia, or whatever her name was, Tony's mom, Livia.
Yeah.
His mom. Isn't she the ATF agent in Tulsa King?
Well, that actress was the mom in Hawkeye. She was Kate Bishop's mom.
Oh, no. Is that Verma Farmiga?
That's who that one was.
No, I don't think it is, Mitch. It kind of looks like her, but no, it isn't.
Verma Farmiga was on Hawkeye. I don't know if this is the
She's
same
not
actress.
on Tulsa King. That's what I'm saying.
No,
I'm not asking about
who's on first. No, that's not her.
Exactly. Third days. Yeah.
No, she was hot when they took her to that strip bar in Salone. Yeah.
Yeah, you doing? I'm 75 and I'm
I know. That was something else. That scene when he goes, let's just say I was in high school when Kennedy got killed. Oh my God, you're 75 years old. I was like,
that was hilarious.
Hey, I do him. He's pretty good.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Mitch.
I'll tell you what. I saw
hilarious.
I saw the trailer for Creed 3 with Michael B. Jordan. I just looked. I was with my wife. I go, hey, I'd go for Michael B. Jordan. He's hot. And she goes, yeah, okay.
I love it.
This stuff that comes out after
next year at
years.
Terrificon.
Mitch goes after Michael B. Jordan.
I'm explaining to Langley that we call Vera Farmiga Verma as a joke.
Verma.
We kind of it's like Irma, but but it's Verma.
It's like
Verma.
Barbara.
What?
Barbara? Yeah.
Exactly.
Whoa.
So that's why we do it. But yeah, okay.
A lot of good shows.
You know, all right. I got to look up this woman then on Tulsa King because Langley says it is Vera Farmiga on
Is it
of Europe. It very well could be, but
your sister.
I would have seen Vera's name in Tulsa King and gone, oh my God,
I don't think it's Vera Farmiga.
It's not. But according to Langley, it is Vera in the Sopranos prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is her. Yeah, I didn't see it, but I remember her being in the advertisements.
Is it? No, it's not her. Is it Stacy? Is it Stacy Beale?
Let's see what the survey says.
No,
yes.
Well, maybe it is. I'm confused now. So,
yeah, just like that kid at the end of Andor. It was a kid.
Pretty much.
Top answers on the board. We're looking for who is the woman that was in Tulsa King. All right. Now this is your chance. You could win it, or the Franco family's going to win it. Johnny?
All right, guys. Unfortunately, I have to dip out of this. So,
look,
I wanted to tell you about my thing that I got to talk about. Can I call you later?
Did the doctor tell you to stop touching it?
Look, what am I looking at? Shh, quiet.
Anson Mount.
I'm looking. I guess Andrea Savage is the woman that's the ATF agent on Tulsa King, but whatever.
Fred Savage's mother?
Yes. We can wrap.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
watch Rick and Morty. It's amazing.
Yeah, I got to catch up.
And we forgot, of course, from Guardians holiday special. Yeah, apparently the GoBots killed Drax.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
That was outstanding. It was a good joke. That's what it was.
That's funny. Yeah.
And then she goes, "Stop being such a bigot." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Hilarious. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. This is a great episode as always. We'll talk next week. More Prodigy, more Tulsa King at the very least, and we'll see what other news we can drum up here on Trek Watch. Thanks for watching. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye.